Stacking Adventures podcast. I'm Joe.
And I'm Crystal. Oh,
And we've got, why do our things say Stacking Benjamins on them? We got to change those.
oh,
I know.
I didn't even notice that.
I'm going to change mine to say
I
Joe
don't even
Mama.
have a name, Joe Mama.
Oh, do I get to do it? I get to name you whatever I want?
No,
Crystal's like, stay away from that.
you sure
Yeah,
don't.
Donna's got hers. We didn't get ours.
That
I don't
was
know.
interesting. Yeah, I don't
All
know why
right.
that did that.
So
Oh God, I
anyway,
want to be
if you're
green.
here with us live this morning, very early, if you're on the Pacific Coast, we'd love to hear from you. Like, who the heck is up super early? We're going to be talking Cruising 101 with our cruise director, with Donna, the cruise director. That's what we should just call her, is Donna, the cruise director. So we're going to make the episode live. We'll be putting in all of the music and stuff later, so you're kind of see a little bit of behind the scenes. Crystal, by the way, I do have a gear of the week.
Oh, okay.
I do have a gear of the
Forgot
week.
to ask.
Yep. So I'm going to try to quiz you and Donna on my gear of the
Okay.
week this time. All right. If you have
Quiz
questions or if you want to chat along with us about cruising, please just say hello in the chat. And actually, let me write a quick note to everybody here. Hey, everybody, leave your cruise questions here for Donna, and you'll be a part of the show.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What a fun way to start our weekend. This is wild, Donna, because we've actually done now 2 recordings in a row because I'm going to be headed to Greece.
Oh.
And
Oh,
the interview we did last night was so fun too.
it
It was so
was
fun. This guy wrote a book about all those the retro signs
retro.
and the retro, like, the old Holiday Inn signs that had the splashes and stuff. And
Pizza
uh,
Huts,
Pizza Huts, if you go to,
McDonald's.
but even the really quirky ones, like the muffler man who's huge on top of a building, or the lobster in Maine, a giant lobster that's over top of the house.
Yep.
There was a
Gopher.
place called Blueberry Village or something in Maine, or Blueberry whatever, and the house looked like it was kind of one of those round geodesic dome kind of houses, but it was all blue. So the house literally looked like a blueberry,
A
and you went there, it was like a
blueberry.
blueberry museum. It was wild. We went all over the country talking about that stuff.
It was cool.
It was very fun. And now we get to talk cruises. All right. We ready to do this?
Let's get this show on the road. I love saying that. It's so cliche now.
All right, here we go. Crystal, have you ever been to Miami or any of those other port towns and seen those massive cruise ships?
Oh yeah, they're spreading because I've seen one here in Old Town. I've
Have
been to the
you?
Baltimore. Yeah, they have
Driving
one that
down the
pulls up
street.
the Potomac. They
Oh,
come into the Potomac now.
in the
I don't know how
river.
they got that approved. You know, the neighbors were not happy about that, but
Oh,
hey,
yeah. I don't know, but what a great place where you live for a cruise to visit, though. That's
that
pretty
is
cool.
true. Yeah.
They also, I grew up on the Great Lakes, as did you. And, they have these cool sailing cruises now, these small cruise ships like the Mediterranean, where you can now cruise the Great Lakes, which seems
Oh, I
fun.
didn't see those.
Wouldn't you
Oh,
love to go to the wonderful port of St. Joseph, Michigan, Crystal?
I just fell asleep.
Well, we got to wake people back up, because from the Caribbean to Alaska, Mediterranean to the Pacific, what's it like to go on a cruise? Today, we're talking Cruise 101 with our cruise director, Donna Peltier.
Woohoo! And if you're looking for best in class gear that's tried and true, worth the price too. Oh, I rhymed. Head to our Amazon page at stackingadventures.com/GOTD or Gear of the Day. You'll hear our picks and our guests' picks, and you'll help the show, and you're gonna help yourself adventure better and for less money. And that was my last and. Oops, I
And
said it again.
no, and
Let's get
say
this
it.
show on the road.
There we go.
There it is.
All right. Then
It's
the
a
music comes up,
cliche.
announcer guy. By the way, I didn't even look at the lines there. Somehow we like, there's some words missing.
Oh, yep. I added. That's why I
I
added all the
know.
extra ands.
I know. I saw you adding stuff because you're like, why
And
is there words missing? I have no idea. All right, here we go. Uh, 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to the Stacky Adventures podcast. Every adventure has a story, and this is where we hear your stories. And in about a month, we're going to hear your stories on cruising
yes,
because today we're talking Cruising 101 with the cruise director herself, Donna Peltier's here. How are you?
I'm great, great, awesome. Just got back from another cruise, so
Oh,
oh,
I
okay,
am
perfect. You have a
yeah,
glow. I knew that was the glow I
what a
was seeing.
flex.
yes. I got my tan on, so yes, it was a good time. So
Oh,
yes,
Well,
let's talk about.
before we do Cruise 101, you got to brag. Tell us where you went, what you did.
This last cruise, I've taken 3 cruises so far in 2025.
oh
Coming
wow.
back from this past weekend, I was going out of Tampa to Jamaica, Key West, and Grand Cayman. Very exciting
Mm.
itinerary for me, and I just got back, and it was so exciting, so much fun.
Okay, what's cool about that, Donna, is I've been to one of those 3 places, Key West, but I know about the other
Yeah.
2. I'm sure, Crystal, you know about the other 2 as well. Those are 3 very different ports.
Right, exactly, and that's why I picked that cruise is because of those stops. I've been to Jamaica, I've stayed on Jamaica, but I've never really touched base on the ports. So I wanted to go there, and I wanted to go back to Grand Cayman to pick up a little bit more of the rum that you can't get into the United. You can't buy it in the United States.
So was there something different about the port side, being at the port side of Jamaica versus the Jamaica side?
Yeah. So when I stayed in Jamaica, I stayed on a resort. Those resorts, they are safe. I always recommend somebody stay in the resort with gated and security. Don't really recommend a lot of wandering on your own. So, and when I
Okay.
went in on the cruise ship, we took a group tour. So we saw a lot of what the country has to offer without wandering off on my own.
Yeah, that's cool because with Jamaica
Ah,
specifically, Crystal, like of all the different ports, Jamaica's a place I've heard many times people go, you don't want to wander too far off the beaten path
right.
when you go to Jamaica. Have you been to Jamaica?
No, and that's another reason. Usually it's like, oh, if I go on a cruise, I'm not really going to see the port. I'm not going to see the place I'm going. I'm just going to see this, create artificially created tourist area and not like the actual place. So I know I've thought that myself about cruises
I
before.
think that's where the guided tour is really cool
Yeah,
though,
so I
because you're in a
wouldn't have I
group.
would have never done that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
See?
fantastic.
Now I know.
Well, we had a bunch of questions, Donna, from our adventurers. And because of my upcoming travel schedule, I'm headed to Greece.
Oh,
Headed to Greece.
love it every time you
Because of
say
that,
it.
we're recording a little bit ahead, so we apologize that we didn't get as many questions as we could have had we given you some time. We actually posted this in our clubhouse
Yesterday.
last night. So you had
Sorry.
exactly like 8 hours or 10 hours to get us your questions, but we still got a couple really good ones.
Yeah.
Where do you want to start, Crystal?
Well, we'll start with Tina's question. Thank you
All
for your
right.
question, Tina. So she says, we booked our first cruise for September of 2026. We already included gratuity in our booking besides drinks, internet, and excursions. Are there any other extra costs that we should be aware of? Donna, yes.
hmm
Huh?
That's That's a great question. I think a lot of people should be a little bit conscious of what to expect when it comes to costs and surprise costs on a cruise ship. You already have the gratuities, drinks, internet excursions. What I would look into is see how much internet that it would come with. Some cruises come with a limited amount of internet. Just take a peek at that internet package, see if you need more. The drink packages are usually limited to a cost. So see what's involved in what's covered under the drink package.
What does that
You
mean?
know,
What do those usually
Mhm.
look like, Donna? Let's talk about the drink package.
Yeah.
My favorite.
let's
My
let's
favorite.
focus on what's important to Joe.
Priorities. Joe forgot his underwear, but he's got some
But I
alcohol.
got the drink package.
The drink package.
I'm not wearing any shorts, but I got the drink package.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. So drink packages, of course, varying by the ship brand. It would usually come either at up to $11 a drink, or even 50. I've seen it as high as $15 a drink, as long as you stay within under those amounts. And usually they're more like a house liquor, or if you go above it, you're just paying the difference. So I like my Patron. When I do order my margarita, I order it with Patron, and I'll pay the extra $3 out of my pocket. So you're just
Oh,
paying the difference. So it's
I
not a
got.
big.
Oh, that's cool. So I can still order the
Interesting.
premium drinks if I want. I just have the first
Exactly.
part covered.
Exactly. I've been on quite a bit of ships that did that. Yes.
Okay.
Is that? Are they generally then unlimited? Like I can keep going up to the bartender's discretion?
Yeah. Usually, I'm so happy you asked that, Joe. Usually, you're capped at 15 drinks a day.
Oh,
Can't
Wait,
go too
15?
crazy.
Okay, either they're really watered down, which I hope, or come 15 a day?
I know. I know.
You're on a
15
cruise though.
a
You're on a
day.
cruise.
And yeah, usually the 15 a day is what they generally is you're limited to before they start touching your wallets.
Oh my
As
goodness.
for Tina's question, excursions, yeah, definitely look at the excursions. They're not included. Also, I wanted to touch on things on the ship that's not included would be like the spa service,
okay.
the
Um,
massages that people look forward to. Those are not included in your cruise cost. So just take a visit. They'll give a free tour of the spa and what they have to offer, but just get their menu of the costs for those. The gratuities is so smart to pay for that upfront. You're gonna pay for that upfront or at the end, no matter what. But people tend to forget about that at the end of their trip
Oh,
and get hit with it, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I forgot about that," and then they got to come back with a bill, and you don't want to do that. So
yeah.
well, that is a
The-
good thing to look at the extra cost because it is like I guess being aware of your own impulses. Because I remember getting that bill. It's like, wait a minute, I prepaid for everything, and then I still had this crazy bill at the end.
we
yeah,
were we were we were pleasantly surprised on the Adventures by Disney trips that we've taken, Donna,
Oh,
by how small the gratuity seemed versus the value that we got. So
wow.
was very happy to do that. But what is generally the rule of thumb on a cruise? Because Adventures by Disney, not a cruise. Well, is there an amount, or do they tell you ahead of time you're going to need this much, or what's some guidance on the gratuity?
gratuities is you can pay for that up front. It is I'd have to look at the brand, the ship, to see the cost of the gratuities. I'd hate to.
But is it you seem to be implying though it's a set number, like they tell you X amount for gratuity.
Yeah, it is a set number. So our gratuity on the last cruise, I believe it was about I believe it was about 250, and that covered all um your cabin, taking care of your cabin, to your
Oh,
um the people who included in your serving you at the buffet, helping you out with your drinks. So it includes across the board for the cruises.
Well, this
So
then is an expense I would think when I'm booking the cruise. I should ask right away because this is not optional. I mean, this is a line item on the bill. So when I get that cost of the cruise, I want to add that in immediately, I would think.
right, exactly. So you don't have to worry about it later. And we're talking
Yeah.
about a little bit of a
yeah.
financial
Hmm.
consciousness of you don't want to come back home to that. You want to pay for the upfront. And a lot of some people, like when I do, if you get great service, you can always add another dollar to whatever drink that you're ordering. If they're just giving you a drink without you ask, just going out of the way, you can always add another dollar or
Yeah.
two. But yeah, you definitely, I would definitely recommend getting that out of the way into your budget up front, and then you don't want to come back and have them charge that to your credit card.
No,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, wow. Oops.
Mhm.
Good to know that ahead of time.
Oops.
So the spa package, just generally, Crystal, when we're budgeting for a trip like this, you also have the airfare to get there, maybe Uber cost, hotel the night before. Do you like coming in, Donna, probably the night before, I would think?
I have always came in the night before and gotten a hotel.
Oh.
I always recommend doing that. You're more calm. You're not as panicked. You're not rushing. You don't forget things. So I have always done that. The one thing I've always done is taken a hotel the night before, and I've always taken the trip insurance. Just you never know what's going to happen when you need it.
Oh, the trip insurance. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It's funny when over on the Stacking Benjamins channel, our sister show, brother show, that show, we've talked a lot about trip insurance, and we've tended to come down on if it is a fairly expensive trip, get the trip insurance. If it's something that's not that expensive that you can figure it out, then the trip insurance not as expensive. For a lot of people, a cruise is a big, I mean, this is a big budget thing that if you miss the boat or something bad happens, you might go from, figuratively missing the boat to literally missing the boat.
Right. And also, I want people to keep in mind that if you get sick on the boat, that's what I'm worried about. Like if I come down with a sickness or I'm not feeling good and I need medical help, that's what I look at when I look at trip insurance.
That's interesting. I hadn't even considered that.
Me neither.
Yeah. Crystal, what's another one that we've got? Thanks for the question, Tina.
Yes, thanks. Amanda would like to know, if you knew the cruise you wanted to go on a year out, would you book it today, wait a couple weeks for a deal, or wait until maybe 2-3 months out hoping for a deal?
Okay, now we were joking about this ahead of time because we were going over the questions, and I said I heard an answer to this yesterday, and then Crystal said, let's have Joe answer this and then have Donna correct him when it's probably wrong.
To see if it's right or wrong. You're usually right.
So here's what I heard. I was listening, Shock of Shock, speaking of Disney, to a Disney podcast. I know, Crystal, you find that hard to believe. So I'm listening to this, and they were talking about the, Disney Cruise Lines and a survey they sent out. This particular podcast, the Disney Dish, they talk about these surveys because then you get an idea of what the company's thinking, right? Well, one thing they discussed is the fact that Disney lately has not been giving last minute deals on their cruises. And I think they said it was because Royal Caribbean has kind of started this trend lately where they're not filling up the cruise ship later, and they're giving it some sexy name like cruise protection, that once you book, the price isn't going to go down later. So there's no upside to waiting. And what that does for the cruise line is it helps them fill up the ship because they want to know how many people are going to be on this cruise at a time, and they want to staff it correctly. So they fill up the ship quicker, and they give people that are cruising the confidence to know that once I book, I don't have to sit there and keep looking, or wait till the last minute. So it helps the cruise line and it helps the cruiser if they don't look. So it sounds like to me the answer is Donna, and I'm not sure, once again, third-party information, and I was doing other stuff while I was listening to this, but cruises are generally going toward right now, book as early as you can, and you're probably going to get a better deal a year out than you will the day before. But there still might be some discount cruise lines that will try to fill up the ship at the last minute. You might be able to score a deal on those. Was I close?
Yeah. You are spot on. You are spot on. Spot on. And I'm going to add to that. You definitely want to book as far out as possible for inventory to get the cabin that you're looking for. Lock in the prices. But this is what I'm going to say as being a travel agent booking cruises for a lot of my clients, is what I do is just book a year out, put a deposit down, lock in that price with a deposit, and let me monitor the prices and the deals that come along. I can do that. I can monitor that along the way. If there's a sale coming up in 3 or 4 months, I can see if that tweak would benefit you.
Is there any type of downside though to putting that deposit down? Like, am I going to lose part of it if I put the deposit down and then there's a sale later?
There is a if there's a sale later, you won't lose the deposit. No. I'm just gonna tweak the price to bring the overall total cost.
So I can go from what was a higher price and grab the lower one later, and I don't have to monitor it. You do.
Oh, absolutely, because I have the technology
Sure.
to monitor. I will plug in when I book a cruise. I plug in that cruise week, that cruise line, that cruise into my portal, and then it will track if there's any sales
And you
or
get
any
an
price
alert.
differences. Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And then I go back, and sometimes I'll get a good deal, but other times I have access to group discounts on a cruise. So a lot of times that will be the best price I can get below the sale of the deal. So I have access to a lot of different pricing.
Ah. Well,
Gotcha. By
speaking,
group, but
yeah.
by group
Oh, yeah.
discount, how big is that group have to be? I mean, we're talking 6 people, 8 people?
No, I'm so glad you asked me that question. So no, what happens is that I have access to a group discount. I don't have to fill all those people. What we do is we take about say 30 cabins and we split it between the other travel agents that I work with.
Ah.
So if I want to,
Oh,
hey, can I know it's great because I'm getting a better deal and a
that's
lower cost.
cool.
That
And
is
we have
smart.
access to that. And I'll be like, hey, I'm going to pull out of this group one cabin. I'm going to give them the benefits, an extra onboard credit, which I always get, an extra onboard credit for the passenger, and a better group deal price. And I don't have to fill. We'll all fill in those cabins. And whatever's not full for cabins, they'll just drop it, and I'll just lock in that price. There's a lot of benefits to booking through a travel agent.
Oh, that's fantastic. You can
That's
get a
a
deal
great
that
one.
that
Mhm.
I didn't realize that there are deals you can get that I can't get if I just
That's
go
a good
straight
one.
through.
Speaking of the booking, okay, this is like a two for question. It's like, okay, so like how do you choose your cabin without regret? Are we doing inside, ocean view, balcony, suite? And then also if you had to cruise again with only one paid upgrade, like drink package,
Mhm.
specialty dining, Wi-Fi or whatever, like what would it be?
Hmm. Okay. The cabin question, great question. How do you pick your cabin? For me, I guess it would depend on where I'm going. I mean, obviously, everybody wants a balcony when they go to Alaska.
Sure.
Oh,
Why not?
Why?
Right?
Is there something to see
true.
there?
Is there something to see there? Exactly. So, but if it's more of you want to save save money, and you've been to
Hmm.
a couple places before, but you just want to sail, but you want to save that money. That's where an interior or even an ocean view window would come into play.
Ah,
So I would
interesting.
think something like, and don't get me wrong, Bahamas, I love you, but like if I'm just doing a short Bahamas cruise,
Yeah,
I might go ahead with the interior or just the window. But to
exactly.
your point, Alaska, Mediterranean,
hmm hmm
maybe I'm springing for the balcony there.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And a lot of my clients, they've been to Caribbean, the Bahamas, and they just want to do that same visit to the island.
Right.
And they're like, oh, we can get away with we don't need to see what's going on outside. We can go
Sure,
and do an
right.
interior.
Been there,
Good point.
done that.
But
All right, all right. So what about the second half of that? If you can only
yeah.
you only got enough money, Donna, for one of those upgrades, which one do you upgrade?
The what do we got? The drink, the internet, um,
Dining,
the
Specialty
dining,
dining,
yeah,
yeah.
specialty dining.
the captain
I
dinner.
would. I'd probably have to upgrade my internet. I
You
want
would.
to me, yes, because I still want to I still want to show people what I see. I still want to take pictures, and this is what I'm doing today, and keep in touch with the people back
That
home.
is so
But
funny.
Okay.
yeah,
That
and I
is
can
so
get
wild because for me, I relax when the internet is gone. Like, and maybe it's that I work on the internet all day long. So I'm like, oh, thank God I don't have that.
yeah.
See, for me, I don't need the
Like
food. I don't,
I would even
yeah.
tell people, Crystal, I'd go, yeah, I'm sorry. There was no internet on the ship. I couldn't. Sorry.
I would like the food, like not even the drinks. Give me the food and desserts
Well,
specifically.
maybe that's our answer then.
It depends.
I mean, the answer is check out the three of us. Like it really has more to
Mhm.
do with you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it really does. Yeah, so it's
Okay.
just whatever your preference is. I don't mind paying the extra dollar or two for my Patron, but don't touch my
That's
internet. I
true.
need my internet. Um,
All right. So first timers,
yeah.
Donna, first timers, what are they not prepared for generally when they get on that cruise ship for the first time?
What they're not prepared for. Um, hmm. Oh, there's so many. I have so many clients that forget to print out their luggage tags. I take care of that for them. I just booked another cruise for a lady. I'm going to bring her luggage tags because people forget that and then they can't do it at the hotel, or that's
Oh,
paperwork and
wow.
boarding passes. So it's a little
Now,
things
wait a
like
minute. So
that.
the luggage tags, why do I need luggage tags? What's the deal with look at me, Joe, first time cruiser. Why do I need special luggage tags? What's going on there?
Yeah, your luggage tags is going to get your luggage to your room
Oh,
without your
that
Real
help.
that's
specific.
probably a little important.
Oh, it magically appears.
So what is
Yes,
it?
yes.
Is it like a sticky back thing or how is it? Because you said print
Like
it
the
off.
airport?
Yeah, it's something similar to the airport. You print it off and then it just wraps around your
Ah,
your handle. And what I do, I'm sure everybody else at cruises does this, is that they'll laminate it, or they'll buy a cruise. You can buy on Amazon. You can buy the cruise luggage holders, but you
Mm.
want to make sure that's like really secure. You don't want to lose. You want your luggage to get from the terminal of the cruise and onto the cruise ship to your room.
Hmm. It's been a long time.
gotcha. That's one. Something I heard, and again, I've never been on one of these huge cruise ships, Donna, but I've also heard that brand new cruisers like just knowing the layout of the ship, because like which way are the stairs, like these things are way bigger than you think they are when you're just looking at them from I mean, don't get me wrong, they look huge from the outside, but this truly is a like a
A
city on
city.
with
Right.
a hull.
Right. So when I do talk to a lot of people, I try to gauge how far they want to be from the elevator. It
Mm.
can be a long walk. I mean, we've stayed at the back of the back of the ship, and it was down one hallway, down another hallway, just to get to the elevator, and it was really far walk. So I try to gauge, do you really want to be that far from the elevator, isolated? But some people want to, some people don't. And when they don't, I really try to get them like 3 or 4 rooms away from the elevator, so they have access to the stairs easier.
I didn't even look at that where where the room was in
Yeah,
relation
and
to
another thing
stairs
I
or
really
exit.
people really want to look at is what's above you. When you pick your cabin out, what's above you? Is
Mm.
the buffet above you? Is the theater
Oh,
below you?
oh,
I always look. Yes.
Okay.
oh, that's a
Huh.
safety tip right there.
That is a good one.
Because when they're
Yeah,
having a
Yeah.
theater show below you and it goes to 11, it's like, are you gonna? I'm not saying the walls are thin, but
still.
you're
Why
gonna hear
take that
a
chance?
little bit of bass. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Not just across, but up and down.
Yes, up and down, always up and down. Yeah.
Which brings up another question. Not having gone on a cruise, but I have been on beaches before, Donna. And the thing that drives me crazy is you get to the beach at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and there's these chairs all across the beach or the pool. And some, for lack of a better term, we'll call them assholes, have put their stuff on a chair and you don't see them the entire afternoon. Do I need to get to the pool early and drop my stuff so that I have a good poolside seat, or do they monitor that and you can't have this tomfoolery happen, as mom calls it?
Right, right. Oh, yeah, it's so disappointing to see towels on chairs all day, hours on end. And staff is they are cracking down on that. When they see a towel in an unmanned seat for 45 minutes, they'll
Yeah,
remove their
come
stuff.
on.
And
Okay.
it's just, too bad. I understand people are in the pool for hours on end, but is there a reason to take up a chair for that long?
Right.
But yeah, the staff is getting better at monitoring the unmanned chairs and leaving their stuff behind.
So
But
I don't
yeah,
have to worry as
no,
much about being there at
no,
8 a.m. to claim my chair.
Well, and
no,
then I know
no.
in some places I hate this trend. Some places you have to pay $5 for if you want a seat, like at the beach. Ocean City, they do that in Ocean
Do
City,
they
Maryland.
really?
Yeah. Yep. You see one of those nice, pretty blue chairs. You go to grab one, and the cabana guy comes out of nowhere. Like that'll be $5. You're like, what? It's a chair.
Yeah, actually, that's funny you say that because we stopped at believe it was the Jamaica stop we just did, and we were like, "Oh, 2 chairs and an umbrella," and they're like, "Yep, 2 chairs and an umbrella, $25," and it's like, "We'll put our towels down over
Right.
here,"
Nope.
you know?
Yeah.
So so, yeah, those are
Oh,
another unexpected expenses. If you're looking for a chair, and some people love that, they want a chair, they want an umbrella, they wanna enjoy the beach all
mhm,
day, pay the 25, but other people
true.
not expecting to pay. I mean, to that cost to come at them.
How much should I worry about motion sickness?
Mm. Yes, yes, yes. You should, yeah, great question, because I have motion sickness too. Um,
Oh,
but yeah, not, um, I've always experienced and heard the experience of motion sickness will tend to happen if you're coming from like the Northeast, New York, Boston, going south and back, where that Atlantic Ocean is transitions to the south. Um, I've been on out of Boston or New York when it was 16-foot waves, and it
wow.
was the ship was rocking. Now, what I do is I have the doctor prescription patch. I change every 3 days, and I also have the wristbands that you just buy at Walmart.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I can take the non-drowsy Dramamine. Those 3 I took when it was the 16-foot waves, and I was totally fine.
hmm.
Great. But usually I'm running off the patches, changing the patches every 3 days just for in case.
Is that too completely? Do you feel a little under the weather with a patch? You feel weird?
Nope, not at all. Not at all. I'm glad you asked that question. No, you don't feel
Yeah.
weird. Just call your doctor and just say, "Hey, I'm going on a 10-day cruise." They'll give you enough, and just change it every 3 days. But yeah, definitely have the patch on hand. That's another thing that you wanna take with you.
Yeah, just in
Put
case.
it on, wear it, use it.
But this is a couple good points. I think number
Mhm,
one is, well, one thing that I didn't realize based on your answer, Donna, it's a little bit predictable. And you're
mhm,
somebody that has been on a lot of cruises. You've had
mhm,
clients go on a lot of cruises. That's a
mhm.
great question to ask your cruise director, your cruise to ask
Yeah.
your agent.
Yeah.
What's the choppiness going to be like on this particular route? Because based on your answer, some voyages are just naturally going to have a better chance of jiggliness than
Yeah,
others.
Really?
it's more of a chance. Yeah, it's not always, but there's more of a chance when you come out of that northeast and you get into the seas and down south. Yeah, you have a chance of that.
Oh, it's the halfway point of our show, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's the music.
That is the music. So now it's time for our road trip pit stop. So that means that we're always dreaming about what's at the end of the adventure. How cool will it be when we get there? Are we there yet? So our pit stop is always a hint at our gear of the day, and you can see our other gear of the day at stackingadventures.com/GOTD. So Joe, what is our hint today?
Well, ladies, you're going to groan because we had a
Grown?
great conversation the first half. And this kind of goes back to the conversation that we had. So this helps you make sure your luggage doesn't get too lost on the way to your room.
Ah.
That
Speaking of
is,
rooms, like that last gear that Donna had, like yesterday I saw this guy with some really cool aqua shoes. Like it had
oh,
the
it's funny.
toes
I got to
in
go
it.
buy some
He
aqua shoes
traveled
for
with
our
his too.
Greece trip.
He wore his on the like the boats from island to island too.
Oh,
I was like,
cool.
that's a good idea.
Yeah. And you'll find those, by the way, in our gear of the day store.
Yeah, on our
Uh,
page.
all right. So think
Hmm.
about that. This helps you
Let's think about it.
get
Okay.
from
Your
the
luggage.
luggage not get too lost. And we'll be
Okay.
right back in a minute while they think about it. All right. Down and back up. All right, ladies. Don't tell me the answer yet because we'll save that
Okay.
for the end of the show. But Donna, you have an idea?
I haven't.
Of
I
course,
think I
Donna
have an
has an
idea.
idea.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we started talking about this topic earlier, I was like, "Oh man, we're right on gear of the day." Crystal, you have an idea too?
Oh yeah, I know
Uh,
I know what it is. I'm
oh,
confident.
bragger!
I
You,
know what it is.
all right. We'll see, because I might have been tricking you. I might have been.
Maybe.
We'll
Maybe.
we'll find out. All right,
We'll
let's
see.
let's get back into the questions. What else do we have for Donna?
Alrighty. Another one?
Yeah, what the heck? As long
Why
as
not?
she's here, let's ask her another one, Crystal.
All right. Let's see. We covered a lot of this stuff. Oh, I know. What is the difference? So, the different kinds of cruises, like you got the mega ships, you got the luxury lines, you got the river cruise, all these other voyages, the kids, no kids. Like, how do you pick the right one?
Right, exactly. Yeah, yeah, great question. Yeah, what kind of cruise? Yeah,
What's what?
how big is the ship? I've the three ships I went on this year, they were completely different from each other.
Ah,
One was the super small, a little smaller size, 70 gross tons. That was a super small. I think you can be on the back and still see the front. And then you have these mega
It's so
ships.
funny that you defined small as that. You're on because I've been in a rowboat before, Donna. You could see the front,
see
the
it all.
sides, the whole
Kayak.
thing.
That's funny. Yes, no, I know. They're smaller ships. And then you have your mega ships like MSC World America. Huge, huge ship. I just went on that in March. That has everything under the sun. You want one ship that has everything down from live entertainment around every corner to the hibachi restaurant to everything you can think of is on one ship. Then we move along to the no children ship. We have Virgin Voyage. We get the river cruises. Those are no kids, nobody under 18 allowed. So you have that freedom for the adults only.
Yes.
We just got Crystal's opinion.
Which one did you love though? So what was the difference between that super small one and the super mega one? Like what was the vibe like on that? Like breakfast.
The
and
smaller one
lunch and
just
dinner?
quieter.
Yeah, the smaller one is a lot less people, a lot less of that, people and.
But it seems like it could still be a small ship, could still be a party ship, or is there more of a subdued vibe on the smaller ship?
No, they were great times. Smaller ships are a great time. I just found that that the smaller ships, it just has more room for you at the theaters, at the pool area. The bigger ship is more people, a lot more people. We're talking about in the thousands. You can go from one ship having I have right here 3,000 passengers. The next ship's having 1,000 passengers.
Oh yeah.
So it's whatever you're looking for passengers. But the bigger ship, you'll get the more of the experience. They'll have the go-karts. One ship had bumper cars. The other ship had the go-kart tracks, 3 levels of go-kart
What?
tracks. It was awesome. Yeah.
Is that an extra fee?
It is, yes,
Yeah.
it is, and yeah,
Okay.
you buy a pass for those, but they have that experience there. You want to buy a go-kart pass or the bumper cars pass, or every one of them had a casino. I think the casino one that
Yeah,
doesn't have
more
the casino is
casino.
the Hawaii one, but yeah, they all have a great experience.
Yeah,
but
speaking of inside the doors, because I know they would have parties every night, like a
Mhm.
nightclub, DJ,
Mhm.
movies, trivia.
Right, and they have your every day you will get that itinerary for the lineup for things to do, and take a look at that. Take that with you. Put it in your pocket. Hey, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. What's going on next? I'm always looking around, following that next 2 o'clock theater comedy show at night. I just came off this ship and we did a little Tao animal class.
Yeah.
Oh,
It was so cute.
I saw
That's
this
what
on
they're
your
known
Facebook
for.
or Instagram or something, Donna. Yeah,
Oh,
that looked really fun.
Oh man, that was a blast. Yeah, take advantage of these little workshop, these classes. Yeah, they're so much fun. It brings the experience just drives it right home when you have experienced something that you've never done before.
We were on our river cruise going up the Nile River when we did our Egypt trip, and every day the maid put a towel animal on our bed, which was so fun. It was so interesting. We had a scorpion one day, we had ducks the next day. It was really, really fun. How many different animals did you learn how to make?
I learned how to make 2, and then I got they were selling the book for a benefit for St. Jude, because the carnival does that, and you give the $15 to go to St. Jude, and you get a book how to make 90.
Oh, well, now
90.
you're the pro.
I know. I
You
can't
are.
wait to make them all. So,
Donna
yeah,
will not only book your cruise, everybody, she'll fold your towels.
I will make you a towel animal.
But then, okay, so going back to packing, because I know when
Yeah.
we were going, we bought these fake shampoo and lotion bottles so you could bring your own alcohol, but I didn't know that
Yeah.
they allow you to bring a couple bottles. So what is that policy on bringing alcohol? And even when you buying it, like,
Well, not just alcohol, food too. Okay,
oh, I
can
didn't
you
know
bring your own
think about
food
the
as well?
food.
Mm,
I don't know about
the
food.
food part, I'd have to check on the ship, that particular ship brand to see if you can bring food. Most of them literally bring 750 milliliters of wine. So if you want to
Is it
bring
per
one bottle of wine
person?
per person,
Okay.
you can do that.
Okay.
I know Carnival, they will let you bring on a like a soda, like a case of soda in a box. So each brand has their own rules. So I can't blanket that answer. You'd have to look in. I'd have to
Got
look
it.
into that
Know the
brand and
rules.
see what its restrictions are.
How do they
And then what
know?
if oh.
They know. They Joe. They just know.
I'm sorry, but she gave me a look like mom gives me a look like, come on, you don't want to play the game. Yeah.
We don't want to get kicked off the cruise before you get on the cruise.
No,
Oh goodness.
probably don't.
But even okay, so and at the ports too. So if I buy my rum, are they packing it in those sealed so I can't have my rum on the ship, or how is that working?
I'm glad you asked that question because when I went to Jamaica, I bought a bottle of the white chocolate rum,
What?
and
White chocolate?
yes, and when you go to these ports and you bring the bottle or any alcohol back on a ship, they will. I'm gonna say they confiscate it. They do take it from you, and then the night before you get off the ship, they will put it in your room for you to pack and take home. They do not
Oh, got you.
want you opening or taking or you cannot drink the alcohol on the ship
Got
that you
it
buy
on the
in the
ship.
port. It's not happening.
Okay.
They will
Well,
take it
don't
from
feel
you.
bad about buying it. I mean, go buy it and you've got it for
Buy
home.
it.
I mean, it's better
Yes,
to have it later anyway.
exactly.
One of my
Yes.
favorite things to buy, Crystal, on any trip I take is alcohol. Because
Yeah.
it goes away.
Yeah.
And it's not some tchotchke that's going to sit around the
Right.
house forever. But also the fact that it goes away, I love because I know it's a limited quantity. So we end up with stories about the trip every time.
Yeah.
Like even if it's a crappy place for wine, I like buying a bottle of wine in places I go and then share it with a friend that didn't go. So we have a great discussion about the trip. Super fun. Or, in this case, we're talking Caribbean, a bottle of
Oh yeah.
rum,
Rum.
it'd be
Definitely rum.
super, super fun.
Right. And there is limited of how much you can bring back. So I want people to be aware
Right.
of that.
Yeah.
Okay. You can't just bring back like a 6-pack of I buy of rum. I wish I could, but one
You can't
bottle
create
per
your own
person.
liquor store.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So be aware of how much you can bring. Right. Because then if you're flying, you have to think about that too,
Yes.
of what you can bring.
Let's talk about some itineraries. I can't wait to hear our cruising stories from our adventures. But what's a port you thought you'd hit? We talked about Jamaica and went, okay, if you stick with a group and stuff. And that to me seems like a port I wouldn't love. But like Costa Rica, I'd be all in. I'm like, okay, that's great. Is there a port that you thought ahead of time? You're like, yeah, I don't think this is going to be for me. And then you actually loved it later?
Yeah, I didn't think I've been to actually my first time going to like St. Kitts, St. Thomas area. I was like, these are just going to be islands with beaches, But no, I can't wait to go back to St. Thomas. That's probably one of my favorite islands to go back to. There's so much going on, and you get the excursions, and we're going to talk about excursions too, I hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, and but those little islands offer so much. You get the food, the food and the people there. They're so friendly and welcoming.
I didn't cruise, but I went to St. Thomas and to
Mhm.
St. John's. It was another, Chrysler's a national park on St. John's.
Oh, I didn't
So
know that.
in Cheryl's quest to go to all the national parks, we flew into St. Thomas. And to your point, Donna, there were a couple restaurants we went to in St. Thomas that were unbelievable. One was up in the mountain, and it was this old farmhouse that had been converted to this beautiful 5-star restaurant, just this wonderful, wonderful restaurant in the middle of the island. And then another one was right where the cruise ships were. It was a second floor restaurant, so it was up a little higher. That a couple of cruise boats, cruise ships were literally right on the dock, right across from us. And the food there was unbelievable. We had a fantastic brunch at that restaurant right on the dock in St. Thomas. So it was wild, to your point, Donna, how much there was to do around St. Thomas. Cause I was like you, I'm like, what is this? Just, you look at it on a map, you're like, this must be just a couple beaches. No. There was so much fun. That's cool. Well, let's talk about that. Crystal, you want to talk about excursions?
Well, excursions? Yes.
Yeah. So let's talk about, do you stay on the boat? Do you do the excursions? How do you pick excursions? And what are some dandies?
So what if I've been to a place before and I just wasn't too crazy about it, there was islands in my head that I'm just not too crazy about visiting, I'll just stay on the ship and just enjoy the ship that's almost empty because everybody's off doing everything, and I got the pool to myself and any chair I want, and then I get the restaurant to myself.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yes. I've heard, by the way, on that point, people that cruise the first time do the excursions. You can tell longtime cruisers who love the cruise experience because they often stay on the ship. Donna, is that true?
Yeah, they know what islands they want to visit again and what islands they would want to skip. If you've been to, like, for example, if you've been to Portland, Maine, I've been to Portland, Maine, and the Canada cruise goes out of Boston. It stops in Portland. I don't have to get off the ship in Portland. I can just stay on the ship. But a lot of people want to explore that port. But yeah, I would definitely encourage everybody to at least take a couple short excursions, a couple tours to get the feel of what that island has, and has some stops. It's a lot of great ships, great tours. I also did like a couple of like whale watching ship
Sweet,
excursions.
cool,
really awesome. I'd love to see the whales and experience the island. So
what kind of whales did you see?
What kind? There were like 7 of us. 7
She's
whales.
Like big ones, Joe.
Next to us, right next to the boat.
Fins.
Really?
It was awesome. Yes, there was 7 of them just coming up next to the boat, and I'm like, oh my God, it was amazing. But yeah, shore excursions, I'm a huge fan of, and like I said, when you do book, you do have access some onboard credits that you take advantage of to help you pay for those.
Oh, got you. So you get some credits as part of your package.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of them come with onboard credits where you can apply it.
Okay. And you're not booking off the ship, like you're booking.
You're booking on the ship. Right. Exactly.
Okay.
And another thing just to touch on is that if you see a lot of excursions are sold out, they do add excursions when you get on the ship. So don't think that something's like sold out, you're missing out, because they're going to have similar ones offered on the ship.
But is that a reason also though to book early if you've got specific excursions you want to take? Like book it now.
Yeah, like the scuba, snorkeling, those are like really hot to trot. Those are out the door really quickly. So if you want to, you want to do a snorkeling, that's what you need to just hop on right away and get that locked in.
I could imagine that, especially in places that are known for that. Like you said, you went to the Caymans. Like when I hear Caymans, snorkeling and scuba is the first thing I think.
Exactly, because they do have a shipwreck snorkeling, and then they'll take you on another part. They have another snorkeling with a turtle. Oh, it's absolutely wonderful with the turtles and the shipwreck.
And you've always had plenty of time, never danger of, oh my God, are we going to make it back to the ship?
Never.
Those are my favorite videos, by the way, to watch. The person who's running down the thing, waving at the ship as it's pulling out of port.
When you book a excursion from the ship, they are guaranteed to wait for you. Don't worry, they will wait for you.
There you go. Okay, there you go. Because you do when you don't book, and as soon as you get off the ship, you're immediately flanked on both sides with people selling their own excursions, and of course they're cheap, but cheap is more expensive because you're not guaranteed to make it back to the boat.
Exactly. That's so important to note that if you do it with the ship, that ship's gonna wait for you.
Yeah. Okay. Sold.
Well, I think that
So,
is absolutely fantastic, Donna. This has been great.
yeah,
I know we may have some we we have some adventurers that want to book cruises. How do they find you?
I do too.
Yeah, I'm at vacationsbydonna.com. I can be found there. I can be found on Facebook at Vacations by Donna. The only other point I want to really point out to people that if you want to do a cruise and you are looking to visit a specific island, I
Mm,
can um, really pinpoint what cruises will go to that island. So, and
okay,
all the brands. So I can, instead of you looking at different websites, I have the portal for that. So you can find
gotcha.
me at Facebook at the Vacations by Donna or www.vacationsbydonna.com.
And you know what? We're going to have it in the show notes. But if you can't find the show notes, you can't remember what Donna said, it's easy. Just hit up Crystal or I on social media, and
Oh,
we'll get you connected to Donna.
One
And
last, yeah, one last thing. Like, what's the one thing people complain about? Like, do you ever get like feedback or complaints about any specific things or a specific tip?
Um, I don't get a lot of complaints or feedbacks. I really try to set up, be transparent about what
Yeah.
to expect, especially what they're looking for, what to expect. So when these questions usually come up front, if they have any concerns at the end, I'll go over that with them.
Perfect. Perfect.
yeah, yeah, I think that's the key that I learned today is you're going to have a lot less complaints if you do some good work ahead of time,
Upfront.
Yeah.
making sure you're on
Yeah.
the right ship with the right package and the right go-karts.
Go-karts. and work with somebody who's actually cruised before. Talk to them.
Yes.
A lot of times.
Yes.
Absolutely. And I love the idea of being able to book and know if the price comes down that somebody's got my back.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right. It's up to you now, adventurers. What are your cruising stories? The good, the bad, the ugly. We want to hear them all. We're going to do your cruise adventures episode in about a month. So how do people leave their story, Crystal?
Yes, we would love, love, love to hear from you. Head to stackingadventures.com/my story and tell us about your cruise story, your cruise tips, so we can talk about them on the show. You can hear yourself in lights.
Love to hear some of the fun that you all have had cruising. I can't wait. I'm about to go on. I'm going to be doing another Christmas Markets River cruise in December.
Aw, that sounds
So
fun.
taking mom down rivers in Europe. So that should be a good time.
Nice.
All right. We are out of here.
The gear.
She's Crystal.
And we're the gear.
Oh, the gear. We got to do the gear of the day. Wait a minute. Okay. So Donna, my gear of the day pick was this. My gear of the
Wait,
day.
you didn't have our guess.
I know. I'm just going to give you the hint again.
Oh,
Or you
okay.
don't want the hint again.
Yes.
That's fine. This makes sure this helps you ensure that your luggage gets safely to your room on a cruise. So,
Right.
and then of course we talked about some of that stuff in the first half. Donna, what is my gear of the day?
I'm thinking it would be luggage tag holders. Am I wrong?
It is not. And
Oh,
that's why I was trying
yes.
to I was trying to trick you,
It is
and
a trick.
I got it.
My guess was one of those big obnoxious luggage wraps with your face on it plastered on the front, or you holding up your favorite board game.
It is. It's a luggage wrap of me
Yeah.
that people can buy in our store. No, it's not that. Wouldn't that be awesome though? That'd be so awesome. If we had a gear of the day that was just my freaking face.
What a board game.
You have
Favorite
Joe on
game.
your luggage. People are like, who's that?
That's mine.
Who's that guy? That is not it. You know what's really helped me, and it actually even helps me around the house, is air tags. Just having air tags has helped so much.
Smart.
The air tag now, it doesn't help I want to be careful because like when your luggage is lost, it doesn't help you get the luggage. I've found that when my luggage has been lost and I know exactly where it is, the baggage crew doesn't want to agree with me. However, I'm like, I know it's right here on my phone. They're like, no. Our data says it's over there.
Right.
I will tell you right
Every
now, it's
time.
not over there. It is literally in that other room. No, it's not, sir. So they're still going to fight with you, but you have this assurance of knowing that your luggage hasn't all of a sudden, gone off down the street or somebody stole it. Or if they
Blowing
do,
on the
you know
tarmac.
exactly. when it got stolen, right?
Floating in
So
a river.
AirTags. I have an AirTag though in my wallet because the number of times I'll leave mom's basement and I
Ah,
have no idea where my wallet is and I'm looking forever. That has saved me so much time. So
oh,
AirTags, Crystal,
perfect.
are
That's
where
a
I was
good
going
one.
with that.
That's a really
Yeah.
good one.
All right. You'll find that at Gear of the Day or stackingadventures.com/GOTD. All right. That's going to do it. Thank you so much, Donna, for being our cruise director.
Yes, always a
Thank you.
pleasure.
Thank you, Joe and Crystal. Thank you so much.
All right. Let's hear your stories, adventures. Get those in the next couple weeks. She's Crystal.
And I'm Joe.
And now we'll get this show off the road.
Off the road. Pull it over.
All right. We did it. Thanks for hanging out,
Thanks,
everybody,
Alicia. Yeah.
on YouTube. And hold on here.